We've been trying for an hour to get on here.
Yeah, well, it's literally an hour, isn't it? Well, welcome, people. Thanks for getting me in and being tech support, Kayleigh. Lifesaver. So, what we wanted to do today, even though we've been massively thrown out because we're an hour late, but if you've been cooking your dinner and just waiting for us to come on, then it's all good, and you haven't really missed anything, and you're probably eating your dinner now. So enjoy. We just wanted to talk about our upcoming release, which we'll start with the facts. Is out on pre-order at the moment. Is doing pretty well, very well. It's up to number 15. It did get up to number 13, I think, which has been all week, which is great as a small, I love to call myself a small independent label.
I was going to say small independent lady then.
Well, sometimes, only at the weekends. A small independent label. And we don't always get into the pre-order chart. So I know sometimes people are like, oh, God, all you do is, you know, and they say you shouldn't post, you know, just use your social media and post to say we're here, we're there in the charts. But it's actually a massive thing. Yeah. And it's not something where we're just bragging. It's literally trying to bring some awareness to the label for the wonderful artists that are on it. So
yeah, yeah, well done.
Yeah, so it's pre-order at the moment. Tomorrow, if you've pre-ordered it, Thursday, it actually drops into the DJ carts, so then the DJs can hopefully play it this weekend. Some of them have been playing it already. Some of them have got lucky enough to get promos. So yeah, that's where we are in the date stamps, and the full release is the 10th of April, where it goes on to all great streaming sites, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and everything else, and also then onto wonderful Beatport, Bandcamp, etc., etc. So what we wanted to do was talk about this release called Worthy, and let's just let's take it right back and speak about the star of the show, because that definitely is the wonderful Kayleigh Gibson, not just because she got us live, but because of her wonderful voice and the beautiful song we wrote. So, Kayleigh, for the people who are eating their dinner, can you... Is it bangers and mash day, or is it bolognese day? Who knows? I've not even had mine yet because I spent the last hour trying to get on this. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Kayleigh, and then we'll go a bit. Every time people do interviews, I think it's almost like a standard format. But if we don't know you, and I don't actually know this one, so how did you start singing? What were your first musical memories? And yeah, how did you get into music?
Yeah, I think I've been singing since I could. Always kind of like singing the theme tunes off the telly. So my dog.
What kind of age would you say that was?
To get involved. Oh, here he is. It's my little Frenchie. I'd say that was easily as young as 4 years old. Well, that's as far as I can remember, really. But
wow.
yeah. I asked my mum, and I used to kind of like mimic the and sing the TV adverts, and then she got me like this tiny little keyboard, and I used to play by ear the, you know, like a little bit of EastEnders and some other stuff and whatnot. And then through school, if there was an opportunity to be in like a musical, which there was in my secondary school, I always took part. I always went forwards and took part in that. I actually landed a part of Sandy in Greece in my secondary school, which was amazing. And then from secondary school, I went on to do performing arts at Barking College, which was wicked for a couple of years. But then I suppose I started, my first track that I released properly was with Sub London. So that was with Ray Hurley, Danny Ward and Hermit and Matt Hurley as well. Matt, who's on the call down here. He was part of the label at that time too. I think he was anyway.
Let's go back a bit. That's too much. I still want to find out a bit more. What age were you when you started picking up the keyboard, do you think?
Oh, like 5. Yeah, 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm a self-taught pianist, so I like, you know, I can play chords and stuff. I'm not classically trained, but I can play a few chords and sing a few songs over a few chords on the piano, which is great. I've got a piano at home.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
And what when you was growing up, what
What are you doing?
what music did you what music was you into? Was you started out pop or what was your sort of like musical journey? Because obviously singing, the reason I ask is singing soulful house is well niche.
Yeah.
It's obviously not something, so there's usually a journey that people go to arrive at, and I'm just trying to work out your kind of journey that brought you to where you are and obviously makes you sound the way you do. And
Yeah.
also, I'm being a little bit selfish because I've got a 7 and a 9-year-old, and they sing along in the car and stuff like that. And one of them, the 9-year-old, plays. The 7-year-old, I was taking to lessons, and then she wanted to stop. The 9-year-old, I didn't take to lessons, but she just picks up the. Well, we've got a piano downstairs. She just gets on it and plays the theme tune to Bluey or works out Twinkle Twinkle, whatever. So it's a little bit like I'm trying to gauge when they're going to be like you.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Well, is that Susie you said is like that?
Lily's the
Lily.
9-year-old. She just plays, and they both sing along in the car. Rosie
Yeah.
more so. Rosie's wicked. Like she'll be in the car and she'll like within a minute, like your track Worthy. She loves it. She absolutely loves it. Knows all the words. Sings along to it when it comes on in the car. And she does to most of my tracks, which is very humbling.
Bless her.
But
Yeah,
so yeah,
when I was
your
growing
sort
up,
of journey.
when I was growing up, my dad was a pirate radio DJ, and he founded Function FM. So I think it was the 9, the 5, and the goddamn 4. So yeah, it was a very long time ago. I was probably about 5 when he was. Oh, Pat, have you gone? Are you still here? Oh, Pat. Pat, it's just me. Oh dear. Except, let's try getting back on again. Oh my God, this technology thing today has been mental. Pat, you disappeared for some reason.
Yeah, I've got half a screen. I went to touch it, trying to fix it, and I went, sorry,
I
do
don't
that.
touch anything.
Yeah, I know. Don't touch a bloody thing. No,
Don't
go
touch
on. The 9 and the 5 and the 4, was it?
That's it, and the goddamn 4, the 9, the 5, and the goddamn 4. So yeah, my dad used to play jungle, and then he played a lot of garage. And this is from me. I was 5 years old, and he
Oh my
had.
God. And how did that sound to you at 5 years old? Was it like,
Wicked.
Dad,
I
turn
loved
that crap off, or was it like, I'm skanking down?
No, it was wicked. It was, it was loud and bassy. He had a built-in decks in the living room that my mum wasn't always too fond of, but he had the speakers kind of plotted up on the walls on the stand, so it was all professionally done. And he used to blaff the music, and I used to love it, absolutely love it. So that's really been a big part of my life because underground dance music's been a big part of my life because of that, and it's definitely driven my taste for jungle music and drum and bass. I love all of it. I love house, I love garage. So yeah, that's been a massive part of it. So I could definitely see your girls being quite similar to that, Pat. So yeah, Lily,
that'd be great. Yeah, all right then. And what about like musical heroes? Who would you say your well, maybe take me through the timeline of musical heroes, because they might have changed over time. Yeah. But who being a singer, there's probably people you like, I wish I could sing like him or like her, or or bands you were well into.
So while I was, growing up, and obviously my dad was doing what he was doing, I was massively into R&B, and R&B was massive at that time. So we had like like the Pure Swing albums and things like that. I used to listen to them a lot. Used to make like my own kind of mixtapes at home, recording live from the radio on my stereo.
God, you used to do that as well. I thought you'd be too young to do that. Oh, wicked.
And you could re-record by putting stuff in the holes and putting tape over them, so you could re-record and make a new mix.
Yeah. Old school, proper.
But yeah, it was definitely Whitney Houston was she was always my my massive idol growing up. Okay. But I used to love I used to love Eternal. Eternal was I was big into Eternal. I probably know quite a lot of their songs. Shantae Savage was another one that I really used to kind of sit there and mime to in the background. Yeah, and obviously just all of the really big, strong singers are really.
Grace's saying she loves Spice Girls too.
Yeah, I did. That's my bestie there. Yeah, I did. Absolutely. Who didn't love the Spice Girls? Come on.
I didn't love the Spice Girls, but I was going to ask what your guilty pleasure is, and I'll use that unless there's something even crazier than that.
I had my room was covered in Spice Girls posters, and I was even subscribed to their monthly or their quarterly magazine as well. I was a massive fan.
Well, they were the biggest thing literally the biggest thing in the world at one time, weren't they?
Yeah.
Musically, I was a bit old for them, and obviously a bit male for them, but it's never really my thing. But I appreciated the fact that they come on and they took the world by storm, and the royal family and Nelson Mandela and everything else. What they done was obviously amazing, right? Yeah. There's no question about that. So yeah, but Whitney Houston, definitely talented. Again, not massively into her, but obviously amazing singer. Voice just ridiculous.
And we share the same birthdays, me and Whitney, both on the 9th of August, and I didn't find that out until I was an adult, and I remember going, oh my god, me and Whitney have got the same birthdays. And yeah, I love that.
I'm still laughing at Ashley Grace. Thank you, Ashley Grace. That's jokes. Yeah. That's what we want on the live. Dating up your best mate.
Peter Simpson's written about Function FM. It was run by Blue and Dr. Pepper. Oh my god, yeah. So that's my dad's DJ name. It was DJ Blue.
Yeah, my dad's Blue, Pete. Yeah, that's my DJ Pepper, mate. Pistol Pete. Hello, Pete. Thanks for jumping in, brother. Yeah, Dr. Pepper. Is that?
Yeah, that's taking it back. Right, you can get down there, mate. Come
on. Dr. Pepper? Is that pepper as in pepper and flavour?
No, it's not. Oh, it's my dad's mate, Noel.
Oh, okay. All right, Noel. Okay, and sticking on musical heroes, who else you got? Who else
have I got? I love a bit of Jill Scott. I didn't really think about this. Ted, one sec, because I'm just doing something live.
You're just having your dinner?
I was actually, because we was late, he was like, Mum, can you put me on a pizza, please? So I'm supposed to be putting the pizza on, but he's going to have to wait for a little bit.
He can sort it out himself. It's a growing up thing.
He can do it himself. He's very capable.
Yeah, so Jill Scott, that is definitely, she's right up there for me.
Yeah. It's probably those one I just can't think of right now. I'm just, I kind of feel
for me, on that sort of tip, it's Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, India Irie, and a few others like that. Not massively into Alicia Keys, but definitely crazy talented. But I think for me, she was a bit too contemporary, whereas Jill was a lot more street.
Yeah.
I've always veered down that. And obviously, as I later found out, produced by Jazzy Jeff, who's the absolute man. So she just had that beeline and that Dilla kind of swing. So
right, she's a street vibe, definitely. Yeah,
Billy vibe definitely gets my vote over, the straighter, more classical kind of vibe. Definitely on the funk tip. But that's me, and we're talking about you. What other questions have I got for you? I've got some questions to try and bring some kind of structure to my life, because it really doesn't have any.
I'm sure that's not true.
Yeah, it could definitely do with more. Okay, let's talk about what should we talk about? So tell me some of the people you work with. You just started talking about that. So tell me your journey through. In fact, how did you start recording?
How did I start recording? I think I wrote a track for a guy, I think his name was Delgado, but not Mike Delgado, right. A different Delgado. And it was funny because my dad a built-in decks in his house at the time, and I think I was in my early 20s, and he was like, look, we can just record it through this. And I can't even remember what he had, but he just had like this kind of mixer or this amp or something, and he was just like, we'll just record it off this of the mic. And we did. It didn't sound amazing, but I sent it to this guy, and I was like, look, you know, listen to this, see what you think. And he ended up putting it on the track. But yeah, that didn't really go to plan, because I didn't really hear back from him after that.
Okay.
And then I think I did, I, like, you know, when you can kind of go, I was kind of signed up to this platform where people were looking for songwriters, and you know, you could just get session singers, songwriters. So, and at the time I was kind of desperate for a bit of money, so I kind of.
And had you written any songs? That's something I forgot to ask. Had you, when you started singing and playing piano, did you start writing at a very young age? Did that come a lot later, or tell me about your writing?
Yes. So anything that you hear of mine that's been released, I've written or I've co-written. So everything's, you know, fresh and original. But yeah, when I was in school, I've kind of recruited a few girls into a girl band called Five Alive, and Ashley was in it.
I think you just baited you up, that one.
Yeah, and we did.
I see Macca as well. Big up, Steve Macca, House FM, massive, big things.
Yeah, we had a girl band. We were called Five Alive, and we put on a storm at Five Alive.
And there was five of you.
Nana T, love the Nana. I used to make up MCs as well, and my mate Ashley remembers them all. I don't really remember them, but she remembers every single one.
Well, all your MC attempts, you used to drop lyrics.
Yeah. When I was in secondary school, I was always making up MCs for my friends.
Dropping bars, I love it.
Dropping bars,
I still love that intro you did when on the track. This is Kayleigh Gibson. We're about to rock the hell out of this one. I'm actually going to do a little private special edit just for me. Yeah. That's going to be like a special edit that only I play. I love it. Hello, Lady T, good to have your ears. Steve Macca, I see ya. Yeah, man, we're getting some people on. It's great when you go live and you're not just talking to yourself, isn't it? I know. We'll forget about that now and we'll move forward. So now you're recording, and your first experience weren't great. What happened after that? You didn't give up, which is great.
Didn't give up, and then I met Sub London guys. I'd done a couple of tracks. Actually, I did a few tracks with those. Probably over like a 4-year period, but I wasn't really taking anything too seriously at the time. I was, you know, I'll do this, and it started off with a little bit of dubby stuff. You know, maybe like 1 or 2 sentences, and then yeah, so one track was called Love So Good. So Matt Early's done a remix of that.
And what style was this at the moment you're singing? What style of music was it?
Oh, this was house. So this was like, you know, this was house music. And that first track I did as well was house. So I did pretty much go straight into house music when I started recording. It was house music.
Yeah, you grew up with it, your dad's into it, that's your vibe, you're like.
What I knew. And also around that time I'd started going out as well, you know, partying, and like I used to, you know, I still love having a dance. I'm a bit more disciplined.
What parties did you used to go to?
Well, not really any raves in particular, but you'd always find
in London, right? So you were never sure
there's always
of
something going on. Yeah, exactly. Went to the Scala a few times, and the what's it called down King's Cross, the Egg. The Egg a couple of times, because these are all in my area. So yeah, I used to love a bit of that. Yeah.
Okay. And then who did you record with after? Who was your sort of like, where was your breakout kind of track, let's say?
I really hope I don't miss anyone now, and I really wish I'd written some stuff down before we've done this.
They'll understand.
But I've done some work with Brian Keys. Oh, Jeremy Sylvester. So that was when I did a track with Jeremy called That Vibe.
Right.
And I think he made there's probably about 11 11 mixes of it.
Jesus.
So, and he got a lot of people involved. So I think Brian Keys did a remix, which was really lovely. And that actually I followed on and ended up doing another 2 tracks with Brian after that, called Sunshine and Feel It. And then you got Perception did 2 mixes. Dean, them two done 2 mixes on it. I mean, Jeremy done 3 mixes on it. I think he got and it was just a little hook, and he got very excited about it. And yeah, it's kind of everywhere now. But it was great for me because
he basically felt the vibe and rode with it, took it all the way. Wow.
He caught that vibe and he kept that vibe and he spread that vibe.
Rock that vibe, innit? Okay.
He absolutely loved that vibe.
Yeah, and then who else?
So, and I've worked with, I did a track with Danny J. Lewis as well.
The legend that is.
The legend.
Big up Danny J if you're listening. Much love.
Danny J. Lewis. So actually before that, obviously, I did Love the Way You Love Me with MJ, which came out a couple of years ago.
Oh, so you did the MJ one before the Danny J. Lewis one?
I did, but it took our track. You know what it's like, Pat. You know,
you done it, and then the MJ one come out. The Danny J come out, but you done the MJ one first.
So yes, so Danny did a remix of obviously done a remix of Love the Way You Love Me, and ended up getting in touch with me while we was waiting for Love the Way You Love Me to be released. And
how did you hook up with MJ then? What's the link there?
The link with MJ.
Big up MJ
House
as well.
I suppose it's House FM. I met her at a little a Sub London party, I think, about.
Was she playing?
6 years ago. She weren't playing. She was just attending.
Oh, okay.
For once. Yeah, she was just attending for once, and I met her that night.
Like that. She does make an effort and attend and support people when she can.
Yeah, she's amazing. Big up MJ.
Indeed.
Big up MJ. Yes, you are in the video, Trudy. And then after that, I ended up getting onto House FM, going on to a show. We did a Selectress show with Trudy, MJ, and Sarah Finesse. And I suppose my way into that was the Sub London boys, because Trudy and Sarah Finesse is Danny Ward's missus. So I was kind of just in that kind of clique, that group,
right? And
then that got me into House FM, and that's how I kind of got close to Trudy and MJ and Sarah. And then I've done a couple of Selectress shows with the girls on House FM, and it was brilliant. And yeah, we've kind of just kept our own little clique going since.
Oh, really. Okay.
But yeah, well, I mean, great friends to have. You know, Trudy's amazing, MJ's amazing, Sarah Finesse.
Yeah, Trudy's a massive big up, Lady T. She's been like from day one a supporter of me and playing my tunes on the radio. Nothing but love for that woman. She's a bad girl DJ. She's played for us up in Bedfunk live event, tore up the place with Grant Nelson, which was lovely to have her on board and you know, kind of repay the favour. Not it's about that, but you know, she's a wicked DJ, and like I said, she's always supported me. Probably a good segue to be like, how did you get to work with Pat? But I'll tell this story. I wrote it and my wife was like, you can't say that, she might get offended. But this is how we started. So I heard your Danny J. Lewis track, right?
Shame.
Yeah.
It's called Such a Shame, not that it's such a shame.
No. Oh, yeah, exactly. No, so I was playing Paphos Beats again with Lady T, and she was on the decks and she bust this tune, and I'm there chatting to people, and I hear this track, and I'm like, what's this Indian tune? I know every Indian tune. What is this? So I was like, my ears pricked up. I went over to her and I was like, what's this Indian tune? She said, oh, it's not India. I was like, what are you talking about? Of course it's India. And she was like, oh, it's Kayleigh Gibson. I was like, I don't know who she is. But I love it, and I was just like, yeah, instantly love her. And then I was like, can you hook me up? So she's like, yeah, I'll hook you up, she's my girl, I know her. And then Matty was there as well, so I was on the case because my ears are pricked up. So I'm like, you, Matty, everyone, just get me in touch with this woman. You know what I mean?
Matty didn't leave me alone with it, but it made it happen, and here we are.
Yeah. That was probably, how long did it take us to actually work together from that moment? Was it a year or two?
I think it was 1 year, and then it's been, because we wrote this over a year ago, so it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
I think we've come 2 years since you reached out to me. So yeah, things just take time, don't
Yeah.
they?
And anyone who's worked with me will know when it comes to singers, I'm extremely persistent because, you know, as a producer, for me anyway, it's all about the vocals, right?
Yeah,
So I was glad I was persistent. It took a little bit of while, but the thing is, when we actually got in the studio, it was just fire, wasn't it?
yeah,
We just got in
yeah.
there, and so
Just cracked on with it right away. We wrote 2 songs, didn't we?
yeah. Yeah, pretty much, and sort of like from what I can remember is I think I was in Prague at the time, and we had a phone call, and we just literally had a chat about it, and you were saying that you know, you're struggling a bit, you got a lot going on, and we just literally had a chat, and then from that chat, I just remember that as soon as I put the phone
You
down,
took notes, didn't you? You took
I was
notes.
just writing, and I mean,
Amazing.
I just literally wrote a song. I was like, bang, 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 bang. This is it, based on the conversation we had, just because we clicked. You know, we're very,
Yeah.
very earthy, spiritually, hippie-ish
Yeah.
kind of people, and obviously muso. So I think we kind of got it, and just the conversation, everything you said, I could totally relate to. I tried to put some words down, and then when you came into the studio, I was like, here's a little something.
Yeah.
And
That
then
was
I think,
amazing.
and
That was
that was,
amazing.
I think,
So
on Sweet Music, wasn't it? Was setting the intentions and things like that,
well,
wasn't it? So
we wrote Sweet Music first, and Worthy was actually the second one that we wrote, but we've released that first, haven't we? But we wrote Sweet
yeah,
Music first. But
yeah. So,
for those watching, when I went into the studio with Pat, he'd already had this, like, he'd written out this list for me prior to me coming, to that he made to kind of like inspire me during the session, and it was stuff that we've spoken about on the calls before, like, you know, kind of like my spiritual journeys and my healing journey and stuff like that. And he'd written his stuff down, and it was just really amazing just to have that kind of thought go into it and effort, and it was really nice. And I think that's why we ended up with such a great track in the end, with 2 great tracks.
yeah. And I
But yeah,
think
really nice.
if that one, I mean, maybe you can remember how Worthy come about, but you know, every time I hear that, it gives me goose pimples. It's
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? But
definitely.
on that one, I'm a bit vaguer on, but I think it was, we'd sort of like done Sweet Music, hadn't we? And we'd sort of like done that, and then I believe it was something to do, and I was kind of, as I always try and be, is try and be as positive as possible, and to try and share positivity through the music, and that was the sort of like the Worthy. I don't know if you've got more on that part of it, because you know, they're both great songs. I think Worthy might be stronger, but they're different,
It's
aren't
a bit
they?
more, yeah, Worthy's a bit more bittersweet, because it's talking about, you know, it's not just compared to Sweet Music, which we wrote first, which was so upbeat and positive, and you guys will hear that in due course. And then Worthy was like, well, actually, we don't always have great days, you know. Woke up this morning not feeling great. I still put on my makeup and put a smile on my face, and it was like, yeah, it was just really real and just really kind of gritty, wasn't it? And the chords we wrote it over originally were really kind of somber and melancholic, melancholy. Oh,
Melancholic, yeah,
yeah,
melancholic,
you
yeah,
know what I'm saying. So it was a little bit like, yeah, a little bit nostalgic even, you know, like
yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah, and that's the
bittersweet.
thing as well. When we're writing as well, sometimes like, because the way that, for the people who don't know, the way the process tends to work is, I start the tracks in my studio in the garage, and I do the beats, and I don't play keys and I don't sing, right? So, but
I mean, you
I play
can.
the, uh,
You
yeah,
can play keys.
well, the girls always say to me, Dad, do you think you can sing? Sort it out. And I've had singers go to me before, do you think you can sing? And I'm like, oh, I definitely know I can't, but I can write. So the way that the process kind of goes is, in my head when I start a track, it's either going to be, and this is really basic, it's either going to be a soulful track or a banger. That's what goes through my head, right? So I'm thinking I want to play something that's a song I can write a song to. You know, I'm a big soulful lover. When the backstory with the whole India thing is my whole upbringing, or whole upbringing, I think that's probably a bit, but if you talk about my musical heroes, they are Masters at Work, Kerry Chandler. Going even further back, you've got Eddie Richards, Mr. C, because I started out in the rave, so acid house days and all the Chicago house guys through Jack Tracks, and you know, basically as soon as house started I got into it, and I've been through kind of every denomination of it. But what really stuck is the Masters at Work. They've kind of been there from the very start, because Eddie Richards used to bring Louis over to play. He played at Roselle's in Milton Keynes, a tiny little venue that holds 150 people, maybe 200 people, and in 88, 87 he brought Vega over, and you know, he played a set, and it was just like, what the hell is this? It was amazing. So, you know, and then it was only years later, because I didn't used to DJ then, I realized, oh, we had Louis Vega there, and that was that night kind of thing. So and again, like with my mate Glenn Woods, who played for us as well, on the Bedfunk night, he was our resident DJ, because my journey was, I was a raver, I was a dancer, and then I was into it so much I started promoting. So I used to promote an event called Strictly Music, and Glenn Woods used to be my resident, which is crazy. He used to be my resident, so it was him, Mark Casey, and then we had all these other guest DJs. But Glenn, like, the tunes he played was just incredible. I didn't know who anything was back then. It didn't matter. It was just that tune that goes like this or whatever, that bass line, or this with this weird squelchy sounds. But then fast forward now, he was playing early Masters at Work, loads and loads of Kerry Chandler. So when suddenly start DJing now, and I'm collecting these tunes, it's like, oh, that was Kerry. That was shit. I love Kerry. You know, so much Kerry. It was like ridiculous. Like right back before I knew who Kerry was, I was the biggest Kerry fan in the world, right? But it was just great music to dance to.
Absolutely.
So the Masters at Work thing, so they've always been the constant. And then when Louis done like his Elements of Life, and he does like Into My Life is the framework or the benchmark for me of what a good soulful house track is. Probably for me one of the best soulful tracks ever, just absolutely beautiful in all ways. But so then obviously
I said, you're so passionate. I love it.
It's going into overdrive now, isn't it? But then the greatest stuff that they did as Masters at Work always featured India, you know, To Be in Love and all those.
It's like one of the, it's just the ultimate house track, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely love that song.
It's just ridiculous, do you know what I mean? And then, like, you know what I mean, in my Milton Keynes crew as well, when we play out, we just have to play those Masters at Work classic. Otherwise we get lynched. Literally, sometimes I really don't want to play Backfired again, but they're just like, come on, and then you just has to get dropped, and then you halfway through, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing, right? So it's that kind of thing. So when I'm producing, it's either like a soulful thing, or it's something I can play at 4 in the morning, because when I first started producing, I had so much stuff that was really soulful, and then I'd get a later set and I couldn't play any of my stuff, so I'd be like, I want to play something, make something for that, make something for that. So that was so sometimes as well, when we're writing and I'll do the stuff, I'll get Ziggy in to play the chords and bass, and he does keyboards, he does bass, he does guitar. He's absolutely incredible. And
done the bass on Worthy, hasn't he?
He's done all the music on Worthy. I mean, he's done the music on all my productions. That's just what we do now. It's just how it goes down. But when we get in the studio, sometimes when we're doing the backing tracks, because they start as music, sometimes we'll go down that minor chord route because it's a bit more emotive, and then sometimes you get a singer in and it's harder to then write a happy song to the minor chords, which is where this all started with the Worthy thing and how the chords are. But it did lead us down that route of making something that's really heartfelt, something that's technically a bit deep and moody, but with the writing we've managed to turn it round into be, you know, like you say, some days you wake up, you don't feel great. Some days I wake up, don't want to go to the gym. You pull your ass out of bed and you get in there and you feel better for it. So
You're always in the bloody gym.
yeah, I know. Some days I don't want to go though. And this morning I didn't want to do the JD Byrne class at all. But I did it and it was great when I finished. And then someone dragged me to do some other exercises. They made it another leg day as well. So that was great. Yeah. Lunges at 7 in the morning.
And that's what Worthy's about. It's about just doing it anyway. You know, the only way is through it. I'm still going to do it. Yeah, the words in that song are just really great and really inspiring, and I think that's what it is.
Great writing, and like I say, great writing and great execution as well. So Worthy is, yeah, it's right up there with one of my favourite tracks that I've ever done, and you know, it's great when. It's great though when you make it and you're in it. It's sort of like once you got a bit of distance. So we made it so long ago now. I look at it as like not even my track, but a track, and I also then gauge it from where it sits in my set. So because I DJ as well, and I know you do too. We'll talk about that in a sec. Because I DJ, I literally test out tracks and see how they work. And obviously, as a DJ, you try and play the best music you can. Yeah. And if your music stands up to that, where I played some tracks and played it before or after a Kerry track, I'm like, wow, that actually works, you know? It's like really, you know you're doing something right? Or you can mix something into my life or something, and it doesn't fall flat on its butt. You know you're going the right way. So, yeah. So you DJ as well. How long have you been DJing, and how did you start DJing? And tell us about what you do, because you're a busy bunny, aren't you?
I'm a very busy bunny. So interesting story. My auntie Jan, she used to run pubs. Well, she still does run pubs, but she was running a pub in London, not far from where I live. And I was actually pregnant with my son. This was going back, God, he's 13 now, so this is going back 14 years. She was like, come and do karaoke down the pub. Obviously, I've always been singing. All my family know that I sing. I was like, really? She was like, yeah. She's like, ask your dad for some speakers, and I was like, all right then. So I did this karaoke. I did this karaoke down the pub, and like, I'm considerably pregnant with Ted. So I'm like 6 months pregnant. Wow. I've hardly got any tunes. I don't know what I'm doing really, but I just fucking do it anyway. Oops, sorry. I'm just do it anyway, right? So that's where you start. That's where you've got to start. I was like, sorry, I can sing, and you know, I was getting paid for it. So yeah, that's how it started then. And yeah, like, and then I started working. Then my auntie was like, right, come and do some music. Oh, that's what happened. I went and did some karaoke in another pub in Islington, where I'm from. And the manager was like, oh, like, he hated karaoke, but he knew the punters loved it. But he absolutely hated karaoke. And he was like, you play really good music in between the songs. And he was like, why don't you come and like do some music in here one night, DJ? And I was like, DJing? I was using like a little Behringer mixer. I didn't have a controller or anything at this time. It was just like a laptop plugged directly into the mix, and I was just fading tunes in and out in between the karaoke songs.
Just to fade out. You say that and fade out. Just logged in to the chat. Fade
out. Yeah. Hi, mate. So that's how I started doing that, and then I was like. So then I done my first gig there, and I was like, God, I am paying good tunes, but I was like, I'm not happy with this. Like, I want to learn how to DJ. So I called my dad. I was like, Dad. I was like, Dad.
Good old dad.
Like, teach me how to DJ. He was like, and he was like, Kay, this was 13 years ago. He was like, vinyl is dying. It was like, you need to get yourself a little controller. And I didn't even know what a controller was at the time. So it started off, first of all, I got myself a little Pioneer WeGo 1. I think it was like the first generation it was.
Right, okay.
And I had that was attached to a laptop, sync mixing all the way in the beginning, but I absolutely loved it, and it enabled me to do, you know, just mess around. And for the pub gigs, it wasn't anything, you didn't have to do anything spectacular in there, but I just played really good tracks. Like, my selection of tracks was brilliant. And you know,
and what type of music was that? Was it like house and garage,
It was a mix of everything. So, you know, from commercial stuff to like house, drum and bass, garage, but also R&B. Also, like, you know, a bit of grime as well. Like, I used to be a right kind of grimy kind of like give me the bass sort of girl when I first started. But I loved it, and yeah, that kind of took over, and I really, really, absolutely loved it. And this was before. my son was still young at the time, so I was, you know, I had really good family support looking after Ted on the weekends when I was working and stuff. And then it kind of progressed from there into like, then I started getting bookings for weddings and stuff like that before I knew it. And yeah, it's just all kind of progressed from there, really. And then a few years ago, I borrowed my dad's controller, and I was like, I'm not sync mixing anymore. I'm gonna learn how to mix. And like for years, I knew what mixing was. I used to watch my dad do it, and I was like, I can do this, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started like having a little go on his big controller. And even his CDJs that he had built in at home, I'd have a little mess around with them on him, and yeah, just started kind of getting a bit more confident on that. But still, to this day, I still use a controller now for my pub gigs, because I don't really need to be dragging a big ass thing around with me for gigs. What's the point? But now what I do is I incorporate my singing into the DJing. So like, you know, last year I did a wedding last year where I was doing the music. I've got like, you know, the booth, the lights, all that stuff. And right in the middle of the night, I just came out into the middle of the dance floor and started singing, and people were like, whoa, you know, I thought you was just a DJ. And it was really good. And that's kind of like it took me a long time to find the guts to be able to put them both together, because they were two different things. Like, and you know, when it came to singing, it was a much more professional side of me, because I had to make sure that, you know, one, I wasn't drinking, but with the DJing, you know, you could kind of like have a drink with it, and it was a bit more like laid back. So when I started merging them together, it was like, oh, I was a bit like just in unknown territory, and I didn't really know anyone else who did that. You know, when I was doing it, you didn't really have anyone else to look up to that done that. So it was very nervous, like, you know, a bit nerve wracking for me, kind of putting myself out there like that. But I did,
which is what you have to do, right?
Which is what you
have man, we got MJ. Yo, MJ. Yo, MJ. We've been bigging you up, girl. You have to watch on the rewind. We've been all over you.
You've got to feel the fear and do it anyway, right? And this is how you start. And this is, you know, going back to my first ever gig 14 years ago, pregnant with my son, not knowing what I was doing in this pub full of like old drinking men. And you know, like, and I was like, God, this is so bad. But I still, like, you know, they still had a decent time. And that's what you just got to do, feel the fear and do it anyway. And you know, if you don't risk looking a bit silly, then I don't think you're going to get anywhere ever. So you've just got to kind of
set up alive, right?
Yeah, so for everyone that's on now, you might know we was meant to go live at 7, and we ended up going live at 8 because we couldn't
work it out.
We couldn't work it out.
I was doing it on my laptop, and it wasn't playing ball, and Kayleigh had to save me and do it through the phone. And I'm only looking at myself in this live chat, and every time I go to touch it to try and sort it out, she loses me. So I'm not touching anything.
We can't even see each other.
Excuse me, have you just moved in? Who's that? Who's moved in, Lady T? What are you saying?
Just moved in. Oh God, this is a private joke from MJ's 40th birthday. So, during the lockdown, we hired out. Did we hire out a hotel room? And we did a live feed for MJ's 40th birthday. Me, Trudy, Sarah Finesse, Misha Nolan was there as well. Oh, that was a good night. And yeah, the excuse me if you just moved in were the neighbours across the way looking forward. They were looking down and going, excuse me if you just moved in. So that's where that comes from.
Inside story. Yeah, big up Lee Fitzsimmons. Yeah, that's what the whole live's about, to try and give you a backstory as to, you know, how we come to work together, how the tunes come about, and just to do a little bit of promo for this release, because once again, I'll say it, I think, you know, like we're on to Bedfunk. This is the 43rd release on Bedfunk. Jesus, that sounds crazy saying it. And yeah, I know. Again, it's facing the fear and just doing it, right? And 43 releases later, we're still here, and we're putting out tunes like Worthy, and like I say, there's something a little bit special about this, and there's a few tunes that I think are a bit special, and virtually everything I do, there's some backstory. It's like Synchronicity, which is the second song I ever wrote, but the whole journey has been so synchronous, like, you know, like meant to be, you know, everything just happens for a reason. Playing Paphos Beats, hearing Lady T playing your jam, and then be like, oh my God. And she's like, yeah, that's my girl, I'll hook you up. You crazy.
I love you,
And
Drew.
funny enough, again, even with the whole India thing, Lady T's really good mates with India, and India and Lady T were out in Marbella or Spain somewhere about 5 years ago or something, maybe 10 years ago, but with Romain, who actually first set up my studio. So them three were there, and then they were jamming in that, and you know, the conversation with Lady T was like, you've got to hook me up with her, I've got to work with her. You know, so just how things pan out is just hilarious, and that's the beautiful thing about music, right? And that's what we love about it. And then MJ comes on just at the right time as well. So good to have you on, MJ.
Yeah.
Michael Soul House, big up my bro. Wicked, another bad boy DJ. He's been smashing Worthy, loving it. Really good feedback from it. And just as a little thing as well, it's not little at all, but I just want to say thanks to all the DJs who support the label, because we get incredible support from some really, really hot DJs, really good DJs, really big DJs, really passionate DJs who just spend their life on radio sharing great music with people. You know, I was out with Raj Selly the other day, and I was telling him that back in the day when solar radio was on on Sky, I don't have Sky anymore, but when they was on Sky in my house, solar radio was on this is before pre-kids with me and the wife. All day, every day, solar radio was on. They'd play soul, funk, rare groove in the daytime, and house at night. And Raj Selly, whenever he come on, life just stopped, and I'm just locked in. He used to play the baddest house. And then, you know, I met him at Southport. He's wearing a Bedfunk t-shirt, and I look across. I was like, who's wearing a Bedfunk t-shirt? I don't know. I went over. It's Raj Selly. We start talking, and we just got lost in the chat, running around Southport together, having the whale of a time. I'm just like, bruv, I grew up, you know, listening to you, and now for you to play my music just blows my mind.
Wearing your t-shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I see him down. I went down to see at Jazz, Sean McCabe, Imani. They were performing. Gavin Mills and his wife, they were performing, and Raj is there in his Bedfunk tee. Blew my mind again. So, you know, it's never wasted on me, the fact that the great support we get. Martin Lodge played the track on his show, you know, just get such great support, and it's really so helpful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got little Stevie playing it on his show tonight. He's live now on My Soul.
Big up
live from 7 to 9.
Big up Stevie.
Little Stevie.
Yeah, Mike Soul House is going to play the track on Saturday in Liverpool. Soul Mechanics played it on their boat party for Joe Cox last weekend as well. So yeah, incredible support. So it's just great that, you know, they've been well received. But just to let you know, we do put our heart and soul into these tracks. It is definitely a labour of love, and it's a lifetime's work. And, you know, we're really just getting started. And me and Kayleigh have done our first 2 tracks, and being me, I'm already like, when we're getting in the studio again, Kayleigh, and she's like trying to skip and avoid it, and I'm having none of it. We are getting back in there.
I've got a lot of people that want to work with me, and actually Jimmy's just come on the chat right at the right time as well.
Jimmy, get to the back of the queue, bruv.
So Jimmy's from a group called Kindred Soul. I've done 2 tracks with them.
You speak about them, yeah. You did say you need to do stuff with them.
We've just finished recording a garage track that should be out in the next couple of months. So they were next in the list. I've got Danny J. Lewis working on something else for me, which is something that I've just sent him over.
Danny J again.
And do you know what? Someone that I've been wanting to work with for a while is Babs Presents. I absolutely love his music, and I've been promising him for ages that I'm gonna get down and do some writing for him. And yeah, so hopefully that happens soon. But I'm never going to say never again with you, Pat. Absolutely not. So we've still got enough tracks.
You know I won't have that. You won't have none of that. But luckily I've got another one in the chamber, as they say. Sweet music. We need to find a little spot to drop that in as well. So it's great that we've got the 2. Let me see if I've got anything else that I've missed. Don't need to ask you your favourite genre. Who would you like to work with? You just told me. Guilty pleasure, we know that Spice Girls. What's your favourite song?
Oh God, there's too many.
Yeah, I know, but that's the pressure shot, isn't it?
I think the one that comes to mind is Man in the Mirror straight away. Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror.
Wow.
You know, I used to love. You know, it's not just all house music for me. I love and anything that's got soul in it. Anything that's got soul in it, I'll have a bit of that, please. But yeah, Michael Jackson was. I used to love Michael Jackson. I missed him out earlier on. I used to absolutely love him growing up.
What era of Michael Jackson? I know you're a bit younger than me, so from the Man in the Mirror, are you talking? Is that on the Bad album? Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But even before that, there was an album where it was a black background and he had long hair. He wasn't quite white fully.
What?
It was the one before Bad. It was the one before Bad album. You know, like when you got Remember the Time was on it. And
not Off the Wall. That wasn't Off the Wall, was it? It was after that. It
might have been Off the Wall. It might have been Off the Wall.
He's wearing a black suit, leaning down, and the brick wall behind him.
There was a movie out, wasn't there, called Moonwalker? My brother was absolutely obsessed with Michael Jackson.
So
not
my
just
little
for his
brother.
music.
Big up Terry if you're listening. You're MJ Bad era, ain't you? See, I'm MJ Off the Wall, and as soon as after Off the Wall, again like the Spice Girls, he was massive. Ben, obviously,
yes,
but not really. I was a bit older then and just straight up raving, so I weren't interested in none of that. But Off the Wall was like, for me, his best album, his best work. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it was just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, someone that I follow in as much as, you know, the amount of work he's done. And again, very similar to Masters at Work. Beyonce as well. I read somewhere that when Michael put out an album, he actually wrote up to, in fact, over 100 songs when he done an album. So, you know, these people, you know, they put the work in. When you think, oh, it just comes naturally to them, like it doesn't. It's so much hard work. And he wrote 100 tracks to get 10 on an album. So Thriller, Mark Thompson, big up Mark. I know you was there when it was just me on there and no one else. But yeah, the Thriller album, yeah, I mean, obviously groundbreaking, legendary. Lady T cried.
No, so on Halloween just passed. Trudy works for this care home, and she invited me to come round and sing for her residents, and we did. And I sang Ben to one of her residents called Ben. It was really, really, really sweet.
The night I saw you, we was playing at that pub. Was that the night? Because you was all fancy dress.
Oh no, I was actually fancy dressed, but I was just fancy dressed just for the residents this day. But yeah, I did. Okay. Oh God. I dressed up a lot for Halloween. I also did the Garage Tea Party where I dressed up as the Mad Hatter. So that's another gig I've got, guys. I've actually got one.
I've just seen an advert for that. Yeah. I've just shared that. It looks well decent. I'm sure. Sure it's a right old tear up. Do they let men in there? I only see loads of women. Do they let dudes in there? They do let men in there.
They do let men in there at their own risk. But yeah, it is full of ladies.
Yeah, it looks a bit dangerous.
Yeah, it's absolutely wicked in there.
Yeah. Nice. Pete's got a remix of Rock With You. Me and Romain actually did an edit of one of those off the wall. I can't remember which one it is. I'll have to dig that out because it was pretty decent as well. Okay. Let's have a look. We'll say. Okay, here's one. If you wasn't a singer, what would you be? What would your ideal job be?
God, that's a good question, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
If I wasn't a singer, can I say producer?
Of course you can.
It would definitely be musical. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I always think as well that singers should actually learn to produce themselves. It put me out of a job, but definitely I think even if it's just to the point where you can record yourself, I think is a really good thing to have, you know, and obviously you've got it all because, you know, you've got the musical knowledge. You can play keys, so you could literally put put a track together yourself?
I've actually made my own PA backing tracks quite a few times, so I do just use Ableton for that. So when I was in secondary school, I used to kind of bunk off my lessons to go into the
You can't
Cubase room.
say that online. No, you
My
can.
music teacher, he was so in love with me. He used to actually let me bunk off in there, and he wouldn't tell anyone that I was in there because he absolutely loved me. Mr. Wellington, his name was. He was the one who taught me how to play chords. So yeah, big up, Mr. Wellington, wherever you may be.
Soul House
Thank
has
you
just
very
asked
much.
me what my favourite track of all
Yeah,
time
go
is.
on, Pat.
But the funny thing is, it changes every single time I'd asked it. And it depends what mood it is. But yeah, it's a difficult one. I shouldn't really ask people that question. It's horrible, isn't it? But I'll answer that in one way, right? Because today there was a conversation online that, who was it? Dave Lee was telling the story of Tears. So I'm going to say Tears, Frankie Knuckles, because it's all, oh God, goose pimples already. I'm shivering. Because it's all, from the minute it come out, it's just been that track, right? And if you played it now, and we were Gavin Mills was talking, and it's one of those tracks, if you play it right, and this is where I think a DJ earns their bread and butter, because especially nowadays you got the sync button, and anyone can get access to any kind of tune. But you know, taking people on a journey, which I think is the most overused term in history, but technically taking people through a journey in music from deep to soulful, you know, to just taking people through different emotions. And then if you play Tears at the right time, it is just one of those things that, you know, it's just incredible. And there's so many good songs, so I'm just going to say Tears, even though if you ask me tomorrow, I might.
It's got so many different kind of levels to that. You've got your, you know, the singing and you know, the dripping and dropping and dropping and dripping. You've got like so many
absolutely.
different
The
breakdown
band
sections
power,
in
the
it.
way, and then obviously it's a really difficult track to actually mix in. So I will give people credit if they mix it in really nice, really tight. And you know, again, the skill of DJing is bringing it in without people know you're bringing it in, you know. So I've heard some amazing, I can't think of who done it, but just, you know, you'll be dancing to something and it's really, and next thing your hands are up in the air and you're in the middle of Tears and you're like, how did he slip that one in? You know, that kind of thing is what really does it for me in the DJing realms, and that's what makes a really good DJ that can take you from a deep techie track to, you know, maybe Into My Life, Backfired, Backfired could be there, because again, in Milton Keynes, where we're from and we grew up with all our crew, that is the jam. You just have to play it, otherwise the girls will kill you. Simple. I've tried to get out of a gig without playing it and it don't happen, so maybe that one as well. Robert Owen's voice, as Pete's saying, is just like different level, isn't it? But it's always been great. And obviously Frankie Knuckles, you know, the Godfather. So there's so many different angles to that track. But yeah, very, very difficult question. So you got Garage Tea Party coming up. What else you got going on, Kayleigh?
So I do a brunch probably about once a month called the Garage Tea Party, where I just go and perform and sing some garage tracks. We've got Onyx Stone there MC, and we've got MC Creed there who comes in to do a bit of everything.
That one.
Doing it again.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
Love going out raving to them back into the day.
I've always been a garage girl, so that's one of my favourite gigs. You know, I just turn up and I turn up. I don't have to bring any of my music equipment with me, because that's another thing. You know, I'm obviously dragging around speakers and a DJ booth most of the time for my gigs. So to go there and just turn up and
you're only,
you know, just have a good time
as well, isn't it? Big up Sarah Richardson. You all right, baby?
Hey, Sarah Richardson.
Another big supporter. Love you. Come on.
Yeah.
So you don't have to drag any stuff about. So you was telling me, how many gigs have you got this year?
This year I was booked for over 60 gigs, and they range from karaoke. So there's quite a lot of karaoke across 2 pubs throughout the year.
Yeah.
And then we've got probably about 10 garage tea parties. Then I've been booked in for 3 weddings, and then I do a bit of community centre work in my local community.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
I've got a few of those as well. So I'm nice and busy, and yeah, I'll absolutely love kind of pumping some love back into the community, especially where I live. It's really lovely, isn't it?
Of course, and you've been there all your life, isn't it? What's that, North
Yeah,
London,
exactly.
is it? Central or North London, is it? Is it North?
It's Islington. I'm actually in EC1, but I am actually a North London girl. But I'm actually East. I live in kind of East Central now. So
Okay.
yeah. So I mean, I'm just a London girl.
Yeah, you
I'm just
sound it as well.
yeah.
God blimey, governor. Yeah, no, that's perfect. So yeah, no, absolutely. And again, something that I've tried to do as well is try and get more involved in the local scene as well, like musically as well. Because I'm just a straight up raver. So living here, I've spent most of my life like raving in like ministry or somewhere else. When producing, because it's Soulful House and raving, a lot of it is Southport Weekender, listening to the American DJs, or down to London to the bigger clubs. So
Oh,
over
that's a
time, there's
good
been
question.
go on.
What's your karaoke song, Pat? Peter Simpson wants to know.
My karaoke song. Uh, I
Good.
don't have a karaoke song, but I'll give you my guilty pleasure. It
Yeah.
is Club Tropicana by Wham.
Oh my God, we've got to get him up singing
Yeah,
that at some point, guys.
I don't know if I'd sing it, but I just absolutely, there's just something about that tune just puts me in a wicked mood, and it always has. You know, I'm not a Wham fan. I'd go as far as to say I almost detest them, but that Club Tropicana, there's something about
Feel
it
good
that I'm
tune.
like,
It is. It's a feel good tune, isn't it? And
yeah,
everyone,
and
something
I'm
nice
all about
about
the
it.
feel good. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for that question, Pete. I'll see you at the weekend, son. What else you got coming up, Kayleigh?
So yeah, a massive thing that I've been a year or so ago, I landed myself a gig at this wellness festival, and now up until this point,
Oh,
I've been to a lot of festivals, like camping festivals, like Boomtown Falls on my birthday. I've been there probably 5 or 6 times, maybe 5 times. I'm planning to go there this year for my birthday, but this was a completely different side of the festival scene, and obviously, as I'm getting older, you know, you're kind of taking yourself away from all that party life a bit, and you know, you want to kind of start working on yourself a bit. And it really opened my eyes to the other side of that. And so now I'm kind of I'm really heavily invested in a family festival which is called Manifest, which is run by Mark and Lisa from Yoga Wild Retreats, and those are the guys that I met at my first gig at this wellness place, and they've kind of took me into
brilliant.
their camp, into their tribe, and I just really love the whole concept of it. And you know, we've got
And
like this.
there's no drinking at this festival, is
Yeah,
there?
so at the Manifest Festival, we've got there ain't going to be a bar there basically. Like people
Okay.
can, because it's camping,
Yeah,
people can bring drinks if they can bring drinks to their tent, but there's no alcohol being sold on site. So it's just teaching you to it is a family event, so it's just teaching you to be more respectful
yeah.
to other people, and just to be more responsible with your drink yourself, you know. And it's just such a nice I love being part of an event that shows you that you really can have a good time without having a drink or without the aid of any other stimulant,
Bits and
if you
bobs,
like.
yeah.
And you know, so it's really lovely to get involved in that. And you know, I've got my nieces coming along to that this year, my son's been coming to them, and off the back of that, I'm also doing I'm performing at a yoga. It's called Yoga Wild Woman, and this is all taking place
Yoga
in
Wild
Harlow.
Woman.
Yoga Wild Woman. This is taking place in May, and it's in Harlow, and it's just a weekend just for ladies, where it's just going to be full of kind of yoga, sound healing. But I'll be doing some DJ for the yoga rave in the morning, which is going to be
Wicked.
fantastic. And then I'll be performing a set, singing and playing a bit of music in the evening as well. But honestly, I did the Yoga Wild Woman last year, and it was such an amazing event. So I'm really pleased to be a part of that. But guys, make sure you check if you've got family and you're looking for something fun to do with the kids this year. Check out Manifest Festival. It's going to be absolutely wicked. Our first one was last year. We've got an even better site for it this year, where we've plotted up right next to these swimming lakes.
Oh,
We've got so
wicked.
much going on. So we've got like boxing and yoga and like creative arts for the kids. We've got Nikki Black Market performing in the evening on one of the nights. So this is like a whole weekend. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, we have music in the evening, and then obviously during the day we have wellness activities and like family yoga. We also have like self-defense and martial arts and things like that for the kids to get into. And yeah, it's just fantastic. So really something
It's amazing. Yeah, I know you invited me. I'm actually booked for something else that weekend, so I can't make it, unfortunately. And as we're on the subject of festivals, I'm playing a few this year. They've started to sort of like come in. So the first one being Soul Fusion in Portugal, which I think has just sold out. There may be some tickets left, but absolutely wicked. It'll be the third year I'm doing that, so I'm really, really looking forward to that. And funny enough, Nicky Black Market, I believe, is doing he's on the boat with Wookie, so they're doing a jungle and garage boat, which I got to try and wangle myself on. KJ, if you're online listening, bro, hook me up one of those if I'm there. But that would be amazing. Again, a bit of a jump up crew. So yeah, Soul Fusion, and then playing again this year for the second time, festival called Stowaway, which is a very family friendly festival. It's brilliant. We went there with the kids last year and it is so safe. The year before we went to We Out Here, which is a family festival, but it's a bit bigger.
I've heard of that.
It is family, it is kid friendly, but Stowaway is just like different. You know, you can obviously not leave your kids, but you don't have to worry about them. And obviously we're there with a baby, a 7 and a 9-year-old and a baby, and it felt incredibly safe. The people were incredibly respectful. They do sell drink and stuff there, but you know, it wasn't intrusive as such. For those who don't know, I've not been drinking or doing anything for the last 2 years and 3 months, 70 weeks, so many days, but I'm not counting. No, so it's been just over 2 years now where I've chosen more holistic style, and it's obviously really helped with being productive, doing these 43 releases and just always on it, able to get to the gym, etc., etc. There seems to be a big rise in that sort of stuff, probably because of the age of us, but it's never too late to invest in your health. And as Kayleigh says as well, there is you know, there is life to be enjoyed. You don't need to have a drink. And people always like, I can't believe you've done it. And I swear, it's been the easiest thing I've ever done. I know I've probably enjoyed my party more because I remember it. I have great conversations with people. I'm 100% real.
Moments. You don't get no cringe moments anymore,
yeah, you're 100% real, you know what I mean? Like, I've had moments where I've been smashed up at vocal booth. I won't mention any names, but I've met DJs, You're My Hero, like dribbling all over them, going, I can't believe it, I can't. So I'm a little bit cooler about it now. Not a lot, because I still say what's on my mind. I believe in saying what you think, as I did to Raj Selly, and Booker T and every other DJ that I've been raving to for years and years. I give them their flowers, as they say, because they well deserve it. And it's again, Lady T, one of the most humble DJs out there. I remember we was out in Paphos Beats, and people coming up to go, Lady T, listen to your show, and she was just so uncomfortable with it. But you need to learn to take it, because you're a proper ledge, yeah. And even more legend, isn't she? But she's so humble, and there's so many people like that, which is great. You know, we just do it because we love the music. It's one of those things. So, what else we got coming up? We got Paphos Beats, that's in November. We got Mallorcan Soul, that's a new one. That's in Mallorca, which is coming up in September. That's all I can remember. But where can people get hold of you? Because I think we should probably call it a day, because I could talk forever. And I get a feeling you could as well. But your son needs his pizza. It's probably an inch now where it's burnt, isn't it?
He's already up cooking it himself, which is amazing.
Oh, well done. See, we're encouraging people to be better.
We're doing good stuff on this call, aren't we?
Absolutely. Changing the world. Letting people know that, shameless plug, they are worthy. You're worthy. You are worthy. Listen to the song. Listen to the words. We mean it. We really are truthfully mean this. We're all worthy.
Lyric video.
What?
For that. We should do a lyric video for that, for the worthy, because the words are so worthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Send me them. Send me them, and I'll add it to the release. Where can people find you? Where does Kayleigh Gibson hang out online?
online. So on Instagram, it's at the number one, Kayleigh Gibson. And you can see like kind of all my stuff. I put more stuff up on my stories than I post. So it's a great way to keep your followers engaged as well. So yeah, just check out my stories. But yeah, I just gig mainly in Islington. I've got a lot of gigs in Islington going on, and then Clapham High Street in a club called Aquam. I do the Garage Tea Party once a month, and then obviously on Facebook you can catch me here.
Oh,
and that's about it.
wicked.
But I'm not too far.
Okay. Just want to big up Lee Wright as well. Just I don't know if you know Lee Wright, Soul Sessions,
Lee.
and Soulful House DJs. He has he literally twisted my arm and got this tune. Probably how long ago was it? It was about 2 months, Lee. I played on his live stream and I played sort of like the demo on it, and he was just like, I've got to have that. So I sent him an exclusive, and he's been hammering it. So he's probably going to be crying now that everyone's going to have it tomorrow. But again, big up the support, Lee, and it's nice to know that people feel these tunes in the way that we want them to feel it. You know, it's like I said, it's a labour of love. Also,
you're a bit late, Matty. We're about to finish.
Oh, Matty's come up. Well, like Matty, I believe I'll be seeing you Saturday. He's doing the photography. So for anyone who's at a loose end on Saturday, I am playing at Liquid Spirit London at O'Meara. It's in SE1. We have DJ Immaculate straight out of Chi-Town, Chicago. I'm really looking forward to hearing him again. Last time I heard him, he was at Southport Weekender playing the Powerhouse, who I think is the first time he's been over to the UK, as far as I'm aware. He's just done, I've just charted his track, which is a remix or remake. It's a remake of oh God, I can't remember now. Anyway, it's number 2 or 3 in my chart. DJ Immaculate, absolute killer remix. Everything about it is beautiful. So he'll be playing. David Bailey, who else is playing? Danny T, Chloe T's playing as well. We've got Whynt. There's loads of people playing, and sorry for anyone that I haven't mentioned, but I believe there are a few tickets left, so get yourself down there. And then if you can get down there, actually, Kayleigh as well, it'd be great to see you as well. Visit bedfunk.com, and we'll put all links up there. And I'll do a post on this. I'll have a link to this and to Kayleigh's contact details. So you can check her out. But Worthy is out tomorrow on Traxsource promo for 2 weeks, and then it goes on full release from April the 10th. So if you haven't already bought it and it's not in your basket, buy it tonight. When you wake up, it will be in your basket, and then you can play it this weekend. And hopefully, because we're doing well on the pre-orders, it might go straight into the Traxsource Soulful House charts, and we'll see how we do. Get ready for my post. It's like crack sauce, because as soon as I have a release on there, I'm checking it every 3 seconds to see where it is. So you need to take me away from that, Kayleigh, and get me into the studio so we can do another track, yeah?
Crack sauce. I'm never going to forget that now.
Crack sauce, indeed. So thank you so much, everyone, for bearing with us and the late start. But we love you all. We love the support. Thanks for all the DJs. Big up DJ Lolly. Respect and the support as well, man. The feedback. Keep coming in with the feedback. Lady T, you don't send me feedback. Sort it out. Come on. You know you need to. Tell me how much you love the track so I can let the world know. But, the kids are all in now, so I've got to go and do some daddy, what is it? It's about story time and stuff like that. So thanks everyone for locking in. Worthy's out tomorrow. Thanks for the love, Kayleigh. Love you like cooked food. Love your voice even more. Thanks so much for what you've done on the label, and we look forward to having you on the next one as well, right? We'll get that out later on, and you'll start hearing some promos of Sweet Music as well. Once this is out, I'll be playing both of them on Saturday. So when you hear Sweet Music, that is Kayleigh. When you hear Worthy, that is Kayleigh, and there'll be some other special stuff in there as well. So big love. Thank you to everyone. Thanks very much, Kayleigh, for saving my bacon on this one, and we'll speak tomorrow. Big love, everyone. Big
See you
up.
later,
And save
everyone.
this video after, yeah?
Yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. I'll do
Yeah.
it. I'll sort it out. All right, guys.
Edit
See you
out the bit
later.
where I say I love Club Tropicana. Edit that bit out, right?
No. Have a nice evening,
Yeah,
everyone. See
you
you
too, darling.
later.
Thanks for the time.
Bye.
Big up, everyone.
Bye.
But cut me off because I don't know what I'm doing.